Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Welcome back. Let's continue.
Um, Sadhguru, one question on karma.
Oh,
Um,
she's.
can good karma cancel out bad karma?
Here's my understanding on that real quick. I just want to see if I understand it correctly before Sadhguru speaks. So, from my understanding of karma itself, good karma doesn't cancel out bad karma. You are going to receive both. But the thing is, though, is that bad karma doesn't necessarily have to be bad. There are ways around it. For example, maybe you don't get the promotion that you thought you wanted. Maybe it's delayed. Instead, you can still do good at your job and make another attempt at the promotion. Or maybe find another job that might be better. But that promotion that you wanted, because of your bad karma, you do not get. That doesn't mean that you cannot get it again. That doesn't mean you can't look for another job. It's just for that time it is not there. That's my understanding of karma, which I do like. I like that good karma doesn't cancel out bad karma. You receive both regardless. And the fact that not bad karma is not necessarily the worst thing. You can have workarounds behind it. It's how you handle karma itself, which is the thing that I absolutely love. Really, really love that because in terms of how perhaps the Western world or maybe most people view bad karma or bad things is always going to be bad. But in terms of, at least from my understanding from, I believe Swami Tadatmananda has said, that a bad thing doesn't have to be bad, which I do agree with even prior, I will say that. It's how you handle it and it's what you do with it. It can't, don't get me wrong, it's not to say that all bad things can always be a good thing or not bad. There can be severely bad things, which is just almost nothing you can do about. But it doesn't always have to be that way.
And
What
is
did you
our
do today?
I'm asking for humanity, not for myself.
Ask you for a friend.
And is our life predestined, or can we change it by karma? And what is good karma?
um, hmm. Predestiny is a question that I've always kind of had as well. Do I believe we're determined to do certain things? I do believe we are creatures of habit, meaning that a lot of things that we do, I do believe, seem to be predestined. Meaning that, given an option between vanilla ice cream and chocolate ice cream, people obviously who like chocolate are going to pick chocolate. You're like, oh my gosh, that's predestiny. Can seem like that for sure. That's very, very simplistic terms, but it can seem predestined. And to a lot of degrees, I believe, kinda. I do have to think about that a little bit more, but it seems predestined for sure because obviously there's certain things that we like, certain things that we'll choose over another. Uh, Whether we choose a certain color or whatever it may be, we will obviously have a favor for something and we will definitely choose that over the other just because we have some favor over it.
So let's understand this word. I know this has become part of English lexicon. Oh, karma is an English word now.
Yeah, yeah. Always meaning bad though, generally
The
speaking.
word karma means action. As you sit here, there is physical action going on, there is mental action going on, emotional activity going on, energy activity going on in every one of us. Whether you're awake or asleep, four dimensions of karma are happening all the time. Since you woke up today morning, except for that bad karma you did, no, you don't have to reveal that. Since you woke up today morning till this moment, just a few hours, how much of these four dimensions of karma did you perform consciously?
Should I answer? I I was not conscious while performing my actions. They just happened. And
I'm saying for almost every human being is well below 1%. If you take in a day, well below 1%. So when 99% of your actions are accidental or unconscious, you do one thing, you just drive here. Here the traffic is very slow, it's safe to try this experiment.
Real quick, actually, that's kind of interesting what he's talking about. How I say predeterministic, which is basically unconscious decision, from what I'm understanding here. So basically, like your favor of something, say a color versus or a flavor of ice cream. These are all kind of unconscious decisions because the decision's kind of already been made for you because you like chocolate or you like vanilla, you like blue or you like purple or you like red or yellow. So these things are kind of unconscious decisions that you make because you favor these things. It's not, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because, you know, you like these things. But that's probably what he's saying. That's how I'm interpreting it so far. It's the fact that due to our bias, you could say, that we kind of unconsciously do a lot of things just because it's in our favor. We either the color we like, the flavor we like, the whatever it may be.
99% of the time, just close your eyes and simply sit like this. Once in a way, handle the steering. Let's see where you will be in 5 minutes. This is a disaster of human life. So you must understand this. This is the most profound dimension of Eastern cultures, that we told you your life is your karma. This means your life is your making. There is no manager sitting, I'm not talking about you guys. There's no manager sitting up there and managing you. Your life is your karma. The way you do it is the way it happens. There is no other way. Only because over 99% is happening unconsciously, it looks like some other force is manipulating you. All bad drivers are like this. When they get into some kind of a crash, I was driving properly only, something happened. Have you heard this? Something happened, something supernatural happened and I crashed my car. No, you're just a dumb driver. So the same thing goes for life. The same thing goes for life, that we constantly reminded you. Now in this generation, it's lost in probably maybe your mother or let's say your grandmother's generation. If they sit down, stood up, they said karma, prarabdha, mukti, moksha. These are proper day-to-day conversation, not spiritual conversation. Yes or no? Every day. It's time you bring it back, because karma means you're reminding yourself, everything that I'm doing and not doing is my fundamental responsibility. If you ask me, people have been asking, I have not articulated this till recently, but some people have been asking me, so I'm these days talking to them and I'm saying, what is the mission? They ask me. I say, the mission is just this, religion to responsibility. You think it is there, no, it's here. This is what karma means, that you understand you're the source of your life. Is there no other force working in the universe? Yes, it is. But even to harness this, harness that is your business, isn't it? Hello? Even to harness that is your business, otherwise what's the point? So karma means your life is your making. There is nothing else that can decide. If you take charge of your body, let's say you have some mastery over your physical body, 15 to 20% of your life and destiny will be in your hands. If you take charge of your mental process, 50 to 60% of your life and destiny will be in your hands. If you take charge of your basic life energy into your hands, 100% of your life and destiny will be in your hands. Every young person must first explore this dimension before you step out into the world and mess other people. Yes, very important.
I guess what kind of can be kind of tricky is like, what is those dimensions? I wish the guru here would say, you know, like, and if you need help with that, these are the steps that you can take. Like, obviously, it's probably going to talk about inner engineering is one of the biggest things, and I'm sure a lot of people come up to him and ask like, how do we get this? And obviously, he does have a and I don't know what the right word, ashram or a temple or a place in Tennessee. I can't remember what the city is called. Tallahassee, I believe it is. um, but I wish you would say, you know, and this is something that we can help out in my city. Like, well, let's see if it says it.
But what is the fix for the morning's bad karma?
Okay, so kind of like that. It's like he does say what needs to happen, but where do we get that information? Kind of deal. And I don't know. Maybe it's known. I'm not sure. It's just like right now, I'm like, okay, I do understand he has a place in Tennessee. I know he has inner journeying on his website, and it's something that you could do on the web too. And I'm not sure where else. If there is anywhere else, like maybe a book or something. I'm not sure. But then again, that's kind of advertisement, I suppose. So, anyways, and that's another thing that I like, and then the fact that karma is in fact actions. Even it's not just about the past actions that you take; it's also about the present actions that you take. There's karma. There's no such thing as future. There's only present and past, apparently, because the future, nothing has happened. There's no future. There's no such thing as the future. There's only ever now, and then the history.
You must understand, karma is not like reward and punishment system. It is just residual memory within yourself. Everything, every thought, every emotion, every action, every moment that you do, in some way is recorded into this. This memory creates a tendency for you because so much memory is gathered, naturally, it's like software, you're writing unconscious software every moment. See, if you walk from here to here, I'm telling you, there are at least 25 different kinds of smells. You're not conscious unless something is very strong, acute, in some way, in a positive or negative way, then you will notice, otherwise you're not noticing. You will see if a dog passes, he's just figuring out what you have done, what you have not done, your good karma, bad karma, everything is just figuring out. Yes or no? You also are conscious, your system also is perceiving it because your neurological system is far more superior to the dog's neurological system. Do you agree with me? Hello? Dog lovers, is it okay? Human neurological system is far more advanced than any other creature, you also capable. But because of cerebral activity, you're missing it. You do one thing, just go live in the jungle for some time, you will see suddenly your sense of smell. You just know everything just by raising your nose a little bit, sticking your nose out, you just know what's coming, what's going. You will see in the villages in India, they'll say it's going to rain today. You understand? Nothing, no sign of rain, no cloud, no nothing. He'll simply… and he'll say it's going to rain today, and it will, because the changes are happening in the atmosphere. So, because of this unconscious nature, if you walk from here to here, these 25 smells, for example, are all recorded in the system. And all like this, visual inputs, audio inputs, everything is recorded. Depending upon the type of material you've taken in, slowly you'll develop an unconscious tendency. Suddenly you'll like this, not something else, because of the kind of inputs you have taken in. These tendencies, traditionally, because you're coming from the scripture, traditionally we call this vasanas. Vasana is a very good expression because vasana literally means smell. So, depending upon the type of smell, accordingly you draw that type of life towards you or you move in that direction, that's what they're trying to say. But this is essentially, to put it in modern terminology, you're building an unconscious software, so naturally it begins to function in a certain way. It doesn't matter what is the software, can you rewrite it? Of course you can. That is also your karma. So will you allow unconscious activity that you have performed to rule the nature and destiny of your life, or will you make sure it is the conscious activity that you perform which will rule the destiny of your life? This is something you have to decide.
I mean, again, I agree, and I just think of the kind of the issues that people have. I just like obviously we should be making very conscious decisions, and the things that we do in life should be 100% conscious. I guess the problem is the fact that people, obviously the next issue becomes is kind of emotional. There are people out there who are very emotional, and they even though they make a conscious decision, but the problem is that it's not how do you say, logical? I don't know if it's the right word. It's an emotional, conscious decision, I suppose, where they know that this is the decision that they want. Now, I don't know if people will interpret it that way. Like maybe you disagree, then you might say that's not a conscious decision. But to the person at the time, that is a conscious decision because they don't know what else could be. So, in a lot of sense, they need to know what is a conscious decision. How do you live your life fully aware and conscious? Because it's, I guess you could say, perhaps a different level of consciousness where them being saying, I need to make conscious decision is the first step. But there are still issues with it because you still have to keep progressing in these steps to make the absolute full conscious decisions you can make, because you can have an emotional conscious decisions. I'm not sure, but this is kind of how I see it, where people get very emotional and then they make a decision, but they're conscious of it, and it's not the right decision. So I do believe that to be true. We make conscious decisions, but it's not always the wisest conscious decision, I guess you could say.
For a woman who chooses not to be a mother, who doesn't.
Oh, I'll give you award.
So she has chosen you as an advocate for her case, and you have to fight her case. So what are the arguments?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
So there's a woman.
Yeah, she
who
doesn't want to have a
be
child.
a mother, and she's chosen you as an advocate for her case, and you have to fight her case. So what are the arguments that you would give for a woman who doesn't want to bear a child?
I said she needs to be awarded. I've already announced in India, young women who are capable of childbearing chose not to do it, we will institute an award for them. Because right now the greatest service you can do in the world is you are not extra populating this planet, okay? If suppose you were a tiger woman, I mean to say a female tiger, then I would have encouraged you, please breed, please breed. Because it's an endangered species. Well, see, we are not endangered. Wherever you go, there is a crowd. Well, to protect a nation, you have to build a wall, otherwise people are coming. Obviously, there's too much obviously, there is too much population everywhere, isn't it? So, this is something we need to look at in a very fundamental way. This is happening because the need is inbuilt. The reproductive need is a very inbuilt need. Whatever arguments they have at one point, the body dictates. Fortunately, there's a lot of pain and stuff involved. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened. So, this need, if one has to transcend, instead of forcefully putting it down, if your identity naturally shifts beyond your biological self, you will see these needs will completely disappear. Right now, I want people to understand, what you're looking for is not a child. What you're looking for is involvement. Right now, your problem is, you simply cannot involve with people unless they came out of your body. Your identity of biology is so strong, you can't simply include these people as yours. Oh, this one came from my body, this is mine. This is because you're trapped in your own biology, that's all it is. Today, I must tell you, in the Yesha Foundation, there are hundreds of couples who have all chosen not to have children. I said, you want involvement, you want children, I'll give you 100. Why one? You take care of them. Why should it fall out of your body? Not necessary. Human being has the ability, this is an animal instinct. This instinct is needed for the survival of the race, of course. But now, the survival of the race depends on consciously controlling the population a little bit. From the beginning of 20th century, in 1910, our population was just 1.58 billion, let's say 1.6 billion. Today we are 7.6 billion. By 2050, they're estimating we will be 10.3 billion. When it's 10.3 billion, I don't want to be around. Hello? I want you to just imagine another 50% rise in the world's population, you can imagine what all problems you will face. We are ensuring that our children cannot live well on this planet by producing more children.
I mean, I guess kind of a weird counter to that. I'm going to push back a little bit on Sadhguru this one, but not completely, because obviously it should be up to your decision. I know Sadhguru's not forcing anyone to do anything, but trying to, I guess, encourage slow reproduction. But he says that we're ensuring that our children cannot live on this planet by producing more children, but by not having children, then you're guaranteed children cannot live because there's no children to live. So it's kind of a weird argument there for me. It's like, well, yeah, if you don't have children, then there is no children to live on this planet at all. But at the same time, it says that if you produce too much children, then the children cannot live on this planet anymore because of more children. So both are kind of going in that direction in a sense. But I get what he's trying to say.
It's very, very important. We must understand why this has happened is not just because of unbridled reproduction. No, that is not true, it's controlled. It is simply because our life expectancy is extending itself, it's fantastic. For example, in India, when the British left India, our life expectancy was 28 years. How many of you are over 25? 28, I'm sorry. So you're all dead. That's what it meant. I want you to understand. 28 years. Today it has reached 70. It's a phenomenal achievement in 70 years of independence. So, when we take death into our hands, should we not take birth into our hands? I'm not propounding any philosophy, I'm just talking simple arithmetic. Hello? When we take death into our hands, should we not take birth into our hands? If we don't do that, if we do not consciously contain our population, nature will do it to us in a very cruel way.
2019, February, 1 year later. Oof. Talk about, I mean, I won't say a prediction per se, but something in fact did happen. We can see that now. And that's going to be an obvious thing that was supposed to happen. I'll tell you a movie. This movie predicted almost step by step of what happened in 2020. I'm going to pause the video real quick. I'm going to look that movie up. I think I said it before, but I'll say it again. Be right back. Okay, so the movie is called Contagion. And it was created in 2011. 1 hour and 46 minutes long. I absolutely love that movie. And the weirdest thing was that it looked like a play-by-play of 2020. I gotta watch it again though. But if I remember correctly, it looked like a play-by-play of what happened in 2020. Like to the T almost. At least from what I've heard too of what happened in 2020. So it was really crazy. It was like, I don't know. It was just really crazy. And also, funny enough, literally, there's a video game called World of Warcraft, which another interesting thing happened there, which the CDC and maybe the WHO, World Health Organization, studied a video game, which it was during the early stages of World of Warcraft. There was a virus that would spread, or a type of I think it's a curse or something. It's a type of curse that would spread once something would die, and it would spread close by. What happened was some guy, the pet got infected. They dismissed their pet, meaning that the pet just went away, but it stops everything on the pet. They went back to a major city, released their pet, and then the countdown continued, and the pet died, and it spread to all the people nearby in a major city. The funny thing is that this spread to other major cities in the game itself. and it was so bad. I think the creators of that had to shut it down. I can't remember. It was a very interesting situation because people were dying in game, and I don't think they could play. It was very stressful. Apparently, a lot of people complained. But anyways, it was in World of Warcraft. It was like a type of plague or something like that. And the CDC or the WHO organization studied it because it was a great example of how viruses spread, and that's the reason why they wanted to study it. Again, just very fascinating things that even in video games and movies kind of deal. So if you want to watch the movie, please do and let me know. It was so strange. It seemed like a play-by-play. The video game, if you're just interested in it, like just random facts or random knowledge, useless knowledge probably, but it was just very interesting too.
You want to wait for that day? You can. But being human beings, it'll be nice if we do it consciously, isn't it?
I personally
Real quick. So to kind of push back a little bit on Sadhguru, not saying I'm disagreeing with him, but I just don't want anyone out there to feel bad if they have a baby. Obviously, Sadhguru will say this, it's obviously your choice. But at the same time, if you do still want to participate in the reduction of the population, but still want to have a child, having one child is not going to increase the population because that one child is replacing two parents. So when the two parents passes away, the two parents is only replaced by one child. That's a 66% reduction of the population from two parents to a child, then the two parents go away. There's one person left. 66% in terms of the family. So one child is kind of, and I would say, hopefully people who wants to do good or whatever in the world don't look at that as something necessarily bad. China did that for a while. It was kind of bad, honestly, but um, they did do away with it, though. Anyways,
It'll be nice if we do it consciously, isn't it?
I personally feel, Sadhguru, that there's this phenomenon of castration anxiety in India.
I'm sorry?
Castration anxiety, something related to male ego. We see that this male ego has
Where, in Harvard University? They've been castrated?
kind of everywhere. It's kind of everywhere. So this male ego has been somewhere, hidden behind the rapes that happen, the sexual harassment that happens, a lot of gender disparity. I wouldn't say this is the only reason, but it's somewhere hidden behind, and we never address it up front. And all of these acts are acts of shame, but there is a sense of pride associated with it. How can we change the sense of pride to a sense of shame?
utterly confused about this question.
In the question there is a contradiction. If there is a castration syndrome, there shouldn't be rapes. There are rapes means they're not been castrated, obviously. Yes? So we need to understand this. There are many aspects to rape. This is a dangerous subject to tread into because half the population could turn against you on the planet. And as you say, in the other half also they'll turn against you because nobody wants to look at it as it is. Everybody is trying to make this into a social cause. This is not a social cause. This is a very fundamental thing. Why is this happening? We need to look at it in a more fundamental way. One thing is you need to understand, human hormonal activity is real. It is not manufactured in your laboratory. It is not manufactured in your mind. It is real, it's in the body. So when does it start? Starts 13, 14 years of age and picks up momentum. Probably it hits its peaks between 18, 25. But so life was structured in a certain way to address this issue. But today we got modern. What modern means is totally messed up in your head. You don't look at life as it is. You make up a unreal reality in your mind and you think that is what should happen. Now we have an education system where generally by the time you're competent enough to get into life, you're like 25. So today, maybe you have a lot of relationships going in the university, but that's not the case everywhere. So the peak hormonal activity, there is no outlet. all right? There's no any kind of outlet. Well, girls were getting married 15, 16 years of age, boys were getting married 17, 18, before 20. So it was addressed, even if it was not physically addressed, it was emotionally addressed. That by the time you're 12, they're telling you, see, this is going to be your wife, this is going to be your husband. Emotionally, it was addressed, so they did not look here and there. So now, can we go back to that system? Not at all, it's not possible to go back there. What is the new system? At least we must debate, isn't it? If you leave it loose like that, a fundamental force in human society is hormone. We are born here, I want you to understand this. You and me are sitting here because somebody got horny, all right? Hello? Oh, you're not supposed to say this. No, they fell in love with… Leave it. Somebody got horny. All right. That is why you and me are here, so it can't be wrong.
Hopefully it was a conscious decision though. Let's say that.
You and me are here because of that. Only thing is, how a human society can conduct this dimension in a graceful and aesthetically sensible way. That's all we're looking at, right? We are not talking about against sexuality, we are talking about how to conduct it in a graceful manner. To conduct it in a graceful manner, there must be addressing human issue as a human issue. This is not a social issue. This is not for sociologists to discuss. This is happening in the body. How do we make a conducive situation for people? This debate has to come. Simply putting it under the carpet and thinking something else and calling somebody a rapist, in the national media people are talking, we must castrate this boy, we must do this, what's happened to us? This is not the way. I'm not trying to approve rape, but I'm saying it is a genuine issue. It is not something somebody socially deviant is doing it. It is just that you're trying to suppress a basic energy within the human being, this will happen. Otherwise, will you put them on some sadhana where they will become like monks and be perfectly fine within themselves?
I guess what I'm picking up there is the fact that Sadhguru was trying to say that obviously the males have a higher sexual drive than females, generally speaking, and this urge that comes naturally in the male body that we have no control over. How do you satiate it? Kind of like hunger. I've always equate the sexual urge to like hunger, because the reason why I try to associate with that is because some people may not understand what it feels like to have that urge. And the closest thing is hunger, I believe. And the reason why I say this is because hunger is not something that necessarily that you could say, oh, I'm hungry now, let me do it. No, it's kind of like, imagine you're just sitting here and you're like, that looks cool. Oh man, an advertisement's coming up. Wow, that food looks good. Oh man, I'm getting hungry. Kind of like that. I think the men that watch my video would understand that. The females, maybe not. But you can understand hunger. So all of us can understand hunger. You like one moment you're not hungry, then the next all of a sudden you just watch a commercial about some kind of food that looks amazing. You're like, man, I'm hungry now. And the way that equates to is like someone looking pretty in a manner. And the thing is, though, is that, well, yes, you can make the argument that, well, you're not going to die if you don't do it. Absolutely, doesn't mean I'm not talking about dying, but it's just this. Imagine this hunger that you like. Imagine if you don't die because you don't eat food, but this hunger keeps growing. How are you going to satiate it except to eat? I guess again, unless you have a better way to equivalent the male sexual urge. Let me know in the comments if you're brave enough, I suppose. But the best thing I could come up with is about hunger, because everyone can relate to hunger, and hunger is something. While obviously you do have to eat to survive, but it is something that naturally comes up. Can surprise you from times because you're just doing your own thing. All of a sudden, you weren't hungry before. You watch a commercial. Now you're hungry. You smell food. You're like, something smells good. I'm hungry. Kind of deal, Obviously, the only difference between the hunger and the urge is the fact that you don't die from, the urge, but you do die if you don't eat.
You have not done anything like that in the society? There is no discipline of any kind? Everybody's, by the time 15, 16, they're consuming alcohol, where their judgment goes away. All right, you are encouraging alcohol, you are encouraging titillation, all kinds of titillation through the movies, pornography is like all over the place, and the guy is supposed to be like this. It's not going to work. 2 drops of alcohol, the guy loses his judgment and does stupid things. Is it right, wrong? That's not the way to look at it. Are we brave enough to address human issues as human issues and try to find solution? Is there an absolute solution? No. There's no absolute solution. But we can create a society where these things are minimal, right? There always is crime in every society, always has been. The question is how rampant. Isn't that the only question? Only a fool will think we'll create a society without crime. It doesn't happen like that. It is just that how minimal can we make it?
So last question, sir.
Okay, actually, I'm going to pause you right there. But he is absolutely right. Nothing is ever necessarily 100%. You know, you can only reduce the amount, and I think that's a very smart answer. Is the fact that what can you do to reduce the crime amount? How often it occurs? How you handle it to reduce the crime? It's not by restraining people. It's how a way of relief in a sense. I didn't mean to say that word, but it's the word is chosen anyways. But yeah, I mean, I understand from both. I'm assuming from her perspective. I still don't quite understand what she means. The castration part. Like, is that happening or it's not happening? Because it's confusing. Like Sadhguru said, if that's happening, then how are they still doing it? You know, and is that really a humane way? Don't get me wrong. Like, it's a punishment, but at the same time, you know, I don't know. Sadhguru said it best, honestly. And this very much a difficult question. I get what he's trying to say. Crime will always happen. We have to find a humane, in a sense, a humane way to reduce it, and not make it kind of forceful in a sense. Obviously, once we find a more humane solution for it, then should a crime happen after the fact, then it can be handled in a different manner because there is a solution for it. There are some people that just go beyond, that need more help perhaps, or maybe there's not enough help out there, or maybe they just choose not to have help. I don't know. It's it's going to happen, and the reasoning behind it, I just don't know what that could be. So that's at least part 2 of the reaction of Sadhguru at Harvard University. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, the sound down below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next vid.